Hello everyone, it's Kari from sunshineonmypocket.com, and today I have a whole bunch of cards to share with you because Maker Forte recently revealed that they have a brand new line of products, and they are dies. This first one here is called Find Your Compass, and look at these dies. They are black coated so that your paper doesn't stick as much to them, in my opinion anyway. And then this one is called Daffodils for Days, and this is a layering die. Now look at this one. It comes with 4 layers to this die. And in fact, I was so completely enthralled with this die that I made all the cards using this with lots of options and variations to give you an idea of what you can do with these dies. Look at all these layers. So I ended up making all my cards using this one, and I'm going to save the Find Your Compass die for another video. So that's why I wanted to show you both, but you're not going to see any cards with that compass one today. So we're going to focus on this one, and I started die cutting this out using some beautiful papers. This one is the Lavender paper from Maker Forte, and I started punching out all the holes, and I realized when you pull it out of the die, most of them come right out themselves. There were a few that didn't, like these ones in the middle. And so I just used my tool here to punch those out. And now I'm going to cut another layer using a darker purple. This one is called Grape, I believe. And I'm going to get that one out of the die, and you'll see that most of them come right out of the paper. I had maybe a couple that I had to punch out myself, but these dies work really well. Now I should mention that I did use my metal shim with my die cutting machine so that I got a really nice cut on these. Now I'm going to cut this background die and the front die. And the front one I cut using the gold, but I couldn't stand to throw away gold metallic beautiful die cuts, so I decided to take my liquid glue, place my paper over the top, turn it all over just like this. I'm going to pull up the die and everything, and then I'm going to punch out those center pieces so that I don't throw those away, because this is going to also make a beautiful card in addition to the die cut that is intended. So here I am just punching all of those out here. Now this does take a little bit longer to do, but in the end, and see, I didn't get all of them at the same time, so I ended up going back and having to glue a few here and there. But I think in the end, this effort is worth it. And you're going to see that I've made quite a few cards using the inside pieces of this particular die, which is the top die, because look at this, that gold glitter paper. Oh my goodness, it makes such a beautiful card front. I'm just going to fix and clean those up just a little bit, and you will see that there's a little extra paper on the edges. I'm going to trim that down, and this is going to turn into a beautiful thank you card. After just a little bit of extra effort, here's what you get. Everything's sticking on perfectly. Look at that. So I will trim that down, and I'll show you that in a minute, but this is what you get when you cut that die, a beautiful, delicate top layer piece, and I have used the gold glitter paper with this one, and it's going to go right over the top of those purple pieces. Look at that. So beautiful. And here's the back piece. This is the bottom layer of the die. I cut this one from Stormy Metallic, which has a metallic look to it. This is one of my favorite papers from Maker Forte, and I understand that it's a limited edition now. So if you like this gray metallic paper like I do, run on over and get yourself some, because I do not know how long that's going to stick around. I need to get me some more too. So here you go. Here's all those layers. Look at these put together. Oops, just drop them all. Let me put those back together for you. But there you go. Look at that. The background has some really fun swirls to it. And then you get just a layer upon layer as you go. And it's such a beautiful, amazing result. Not very much work to put a card together. All you have to do is pick your colors, die cut them out, and put them together. Now I'm using liquid adhesive on these for this particular card. I'm going to show you another option too. So there we go. As I put all of this together, look at this beautiful card. And they layer so nicely. You're going to get a lot of oohs and ahs over these cards, believe me. Now this one I fell in love with. I didn't even put a sentiment over the top. I will show you how I finished this in the end. But look at all those layers, and that gold just really sets it off with the glitter. Here's some of my papers from Maker Forte. This Welsh dragon I'm almost out of. I have 2 pieces left. And then there's the blue raspberry and the Windsor blue. They have some really beautiful colors of cardstock. And for this one, I'm going to use some Stick It adhesive for my top layer. Now I went into my Stick It adhesive stash, and guess what? I only have barely enough to just cover one of these layers. I'm going to show you how it's done, but if you have this in your stash, then it is really great to use for this application because it still allows you to die cut. It's very thin, so it allows you to die cut. Look, I have to piece some of this together just to fit on my panel, but that's okay. It's such a thin adhesive that it still works great with these intricate dies. So I'm just trying to peel off the back there so I can add a little bit more to this panel so I can make sure to cover the back of all of it. And what we're going to do is die cut that, remove the Stick It, and it will already have a sticky back to it, which will make it so much easier to put together. You don't have to add liquid glue for this one. So I burnished that on using my bone folder. Now here's another one. I die cut this with metallic blue, and I almost threw away all those inside pieces, but look, I was looking at that and I fell in love. I decided to use it, and it turned out to be one of my favorite cards. Here's that metallic blue layered with the Windsor blue. Here's one I did with the mint green and the blue raspberry, and I'm going to go ahead and put those pieces right back in to give it a different look. This one is some glitter paper with some pink metallic paper over the top. And there's all kinds of color combinations. See here, I went ahead and used the center part of that glitter to use it on another card. Here's the center part of the metallic pink too that I used on another card. So this is the metallic blue, and I just cut that out to be the circle, but I'm going to do something a little different with that one in just a minute. And there's the metallic silver that had the Stick It adhesive to the back, so that one was really easy to stick down. And another thing I had in mind is you could cut off the frames and just use the circular center portion for the card. That's another idea. There's really so much you can do with these die cuts. Again, here's another glitter piece I die cut, and I couldn't bear to throw out all those center pieces, so I'm going to use that for another card. So imagine all the color combinations. You don't have to use all of the layers at the same time. You can use a couple of the layers, 2 or 3, or you can use all 4. Mix and match. But look at this. This glitter piece, this is the top portion. I'm going to put right over that blue metallic piece that I did from the center of another one. And look at how interesting that looks. Now I have to just decide what paper to put that on. I thought it kind of disappeared on a white background, so I'm going to test out a few others. Here's a yellow glitter paper. I kind of like that, but it's not my favorite, so not in love. So in the end, I decided to take some craft cardstock and use some white pigment ink over the top with a circle die, a polka dot die here. And all I'm doing is I'm taking my ink and just inking it on using a domed blending tool. I'm sorry about the shakiness there. I tried to get rid of most of that. I guess I was putting that on very exuberantly. But look at how pretty this looks on that inked white pigment ink background. I'm just going to glue this on with some liquid adhesive, and this ended up being a favorite. As I mentioned, I'm going to add a thank you die over the top, and this will become a thank you card. So I'll show you that in just a minute. I'm going to start pulling all these cards together now and give you some ideas of how to finish them off. Just cleaning up some of that glue over the edges of this one. So beautiful. Okay, for this pink one, I ended up just using the 2 layers, and now I'm going to finish it off with some Nuvo drops. These are the translucent drops, so they're very subtle. They don't argue or fight with the papers there, just adds a little extra detail. This one here, I did the inside of the pink glitter paper, added a black top frame to this one, and I think it adds a lot of drama with that black frame around it and over the top. And I'm just adding some black pearls to the inside pieces here. That will give it some dimension and some drama. Look at how that turned out. Now this set from Maker Forte has a whole lot of really great sentiments to use on these. I'm going to stamp one out here to use for the center of this blue raspberry and mint one. So I'm using the same mint paper, and then I'm going to heat emboss this sentiment on the top here. I'm stamping it in black ink, then I will put some clear embossing powder over the top. Whoops, I dropped my I dropped my acrylic block there, but that's okay. I'll clean that up later. So I'm going to add some clear embossing powder. I heat set that and cut it down to a sentiment strip, and I'll pop that up with some foam tape. So this one says thinking of you, and this is a beautiful font. It's probably hard to tell in the video, but hopefully you'll be able to see in the close-ups. It's kind of like an outline font. So the center is clear and you can see through to that mint paper. Really pretty. So that's how I finished this one off, and I ended up adding a few sequins here and there. I chose some blue sequins in the end. These ones were kind of like a gold. I ended up going with more blue and silver. And that's how we finished off that card there. Look how pretty that layer looks with the mint and the blue. And I added the extras around the edges. So here's that purple one with the gold. You can see all the details. The dark purple is showing through. I couldn't bear to put any sentiments over the top of these layers, so I'm going to add the sentiment to the inside of this card. For this blue one that I used the blue raspberry and that Welsh dragon and a little bit of black on the lower layer, I just added a silver or a black pearl to the center to finish that one off. Here's the one where I added the black frame over the pink glitter and then those black pearls. This one, again, I didn't add any sentiment to. I wanted that to just speak for itself. I'm going to add the sentiment to the center of that card. And then here is the silver. I'm going to add a sentiment over the top, such as this, and that will finish that card off. I'm leaving this one blank for now because I know I need an extra card coming up, and so I'm going to save that ready to be used for any occasion. Now here's the rest of the cards that I finished off with sentiments. Here's that thinking of you that I just added the sentiment strip to the center and then some sequins around the edge. So beautiful with just those 2 layers. Again, you don't have to use all 4. You can mix and match these layers. For this pink one, I stamped a pink hello for the center and popped that up with some foam tape with those Nuvo drops, and that finishes off that card. I love these layers together. For this next one, this is the thanks card that I was telling you about. I used the center pieces that I almost threw out, added some silver glitter over the top with the top layer, and then just a simple thanks die. And that is so beautiful. I used the same thanks die for the glitter card and added a pink heart, just a simple one here. For this one, I added a just because sentiment in the center and cut that out with a circle die. This is the metallic with the dark blue in the background. So that uses the bottom 2 layers, and then the pink and the blue one that I showed you earlier were the top 2 layers. This is the background of the silver metallic, so I went ahead and added a simple sayings from Maker Forte. It says, do all things with kindness. This can be foiled if you want, but I thought since I already had that foiled background, it didn't need it at all. This is the pink metallic, and I just white heat embossed a "Don't Give Up Now" sentiment and added that to the center. I added a few pink gems as well to that one. And then look at all these cards. I mean, one small session that I did, and I came up with all of these cards. So many things you can do. Look at how creative you can be. Again, like I said, try even cutting this in half and using it on 2 cards. I think that would be pretty as well. Or doing a gatefold where they meet in the center and create the full design when they come together. That would be so pretty as well. Or cut off the frame and try it just with the circular centerpiece. So many options. I can't tell you how much I'm in love with this layering stamp set. Again, I did find out that it is a limited edition and they only have a certain number of them to go around. So if you're interested, go check it out. I have linked it below along with all the supplies that I've used in case you're interested and want to go get some of these for yourself. This layering die set is so versatile, lots of ideas, lots of inspiration. I hope you got inspired here with my video with all the different colors, but can you see how just using different colors, different textures, and different layers, it creates a completely different look for your card. So this is a higher price point product because there are 4 dies to this, but I think it's totally worth it. Look at all the cards you can put together. And this was just one small crafting session for me. I don't know, I didn't take very long, maybe a little over an hour to put all of these together, but it's a very quick process with these dies to make some really spectacular cards. I hope you enjoyed. Please give me a thumbs up if you did, and be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you again real soon with more inspiration. Bye-bye.